All right, for today, I'm just going to ask you to do a simple one to kind of warm up, and that would be, let's make a box plot for this data. 2, 5, 5, 7, 9. Put that in to stat edit, and then do a box plot. You're going to get that off of one variable stats. If you've forgotten how to do this, I will help you, but you got to raise your hand and ask. It's under stat. Edit first. And eventually you're going to go to stat. 1 var. Sorry, calculate. 1 var stats. All right, so here we go. Kids put this in, and they use the 5-number summary. The min says 2. What does the Q1 say?
3.5.
3.5. What does the median, which goes down the middle, say?
5.
And then what does the Q2 say?
8.
Sorry, Q3.
Q3 is 8.
8. And then the last, biggest number?
9.
9. There we go. And now here's a follow-up question. Let's see. A scary number of kids did not get this right last hour. So see if you can be smarter than last hour. I said, what's the range that gives you the middle 50%? I know that's confusing, but remember these are 4 quarters. It divides it up into 4 parts. What's the range for the middle 50%? 8 to 9 is not the middle 50%. No.
68%. 5 to 9.
You're thinking of the bell curve. That's different. That's not this.
3.5.
There it is. 3.5 to 8. Do you get that between here and here? That's the middle 50% of the data. Some of you guys are talking so much, you're going to lose your seating abilities. Like I had you sitting in different spots. You moved. I allowed it. But if you're going to talk back there, you're not going to be able to keep sitting there. Okay, so we're going to try again. Daniel, I just described this as the middle what?
50%.
The middle 50%. Good. Now, is there a 25%? That's the bottom 25%. Yes, there is. Yeah. Don't say it. Write it down. What is the bottom 25%?
Yeah,
2 to 3.5 is correct. That's the bottom 25%. See how it divides it up into 25%? Here's the top 25%. And then blue part, that was the middle 50%. So 25, 25, and this whole thing in the middle, that was 50%. Okay. All right, now we're going to learn something new. Everybody go to your L1 list. You know where it is by now, and your L2 list. They're right side by side with each other. And we're going to put in 2, 3, and 4 on the L1 list. If there's any other numbers there, wipe them out. Use the delete key one at a time. Just hit delete, enter, delete, enter, delete, enter until you get them all out of there. And then put in 30, 42, and 51.
So list 1 is 2, 3, 4, then list 2 is 3.
I think you can read them right off the board there.
Yeah, I think I got it.
2, 3, and 4, 30, 42, and 51. Now, this is a little higher level. Why? Because we got 2 sets of data. This would be a little like this. Let's say that you checked, and when you put in 2 hours of study, you got a 30 on your test score. By the way, a 30 out of 100 wouldn't be that great. But if you put in only 2 hours of studying for your final in this is like, let's say law school. Do you get if it's your final in law school, you're going to study way the heck more than 2 hours? If you don't know that yet, law school is super hard. you're not just going to study for 2 hours for a final. That would be like a joke. That'd be like just starting. Okay, so the final's like, you know, the big deal. The last test in law school, it better be hard. Okay, so if you study for 3 hours, then you get a 42. Well, that's higher, at least. And if you study for 4 hours, now you're up to a 51. Do you get that those are kind of in line with each other? They're not in a perfect straight line. A perfect straight line would have been like 30, 40, and 50. But they're generally going up. Do you get this means if you study more for your final, you'll probably do better and better and better? Okay. Now, what if they weren't lined up at all nicely and they were like all over like this? Well, then that wouldn't show you that there was any correlation between studying and how you did. Are there some things you really can't study for? Yeah. An IQ test, for example. They say an IQ test is something you could study all you want and you won't do any better. Okay, so there are some tests that it does no point to study for. And this would be an example of no correlation. If you took the data on how much the kids studied and how good their score was, there was no correlation. All right. How about if I make these black dots, I'm going to make them a little bigger by zooming out. Would you say those black dots are correlated? Do they look like they're going generally in a direction? Yeah. Then there's a correlation. Is it perfect correlation? No. Are these red dots going perfectly in line? No. Are they close though? Then this would have an R value of negative 0.95. That means almost perfect. You know what a perfect negative correlation is? -1. This would have an R value of like 0.9. Not bad. What do you think perfect is? 1. So your answers today are going to be figured out by the calculator. And if it tells you have an R value of 1, that means it was perfect correlation. In the real world, do you think that perfect happens a lot?
No.
No. All right. So there is never a number bigger than 1, and there's never a number less than -1. So if here's your scale of correlation, 1, highest it could ever be. -1, lowest it could ever be. So what if you had a correlation that's like this? Well, it's pretty close to 1. So that's positive correlation. It's just not perfect. What if you had a number that was down here? Well, that's negative correlation. It's pretty close to perfect. So you're going to have your calculator tell you, oh, your R value is 0.67. All I'd expect you to know is that's positive, because it's not negative. It's positive correlation, and it's just not perfect. What's perfect correlation? 1. All right. So what if I had an R value of negative 0.95? What would you say about that? Strong or weak? Strong. Negative or positive? Negative. Strong negative correlation. And this is how it would look in the real world. That's negative because it's going down. What's something that as you do more of it, what's something that goes down? As you do more of it, it goes down. Yes?
Mistakes when driving.
Okay. I like it. Hours of driving. As the hours of driving go up, your, I'm not going to say mistakes, but how would we say quality of driving goes down? You know what I mean? Because the quality's got to go down as the hours go up. Your driving score. Do you get if you've been driving? It's actually illegal for truckers to drive more than 8 hours. If they drive Actually, I could be wrong. It might be like 10. But there's some number where if you go over that, they will arrest you. You know why? Because if the trucker's driving down the road and he's been driving for 12 hours in a row, even if he's still awake, he can't concentrate that long. You're going to make such terrible driving decisions because you just kind of get lulled into sleep. And so tons of accidents happen when drivers drive for a really long time in a row. So that would be an example. Would you say that's correlated? Yeah, it's kind of almost in a straight line. Is it perfect correlation? No, because some people are going to be able to hold up better. Maybe it's if you're tired and you've driven a long time, then you'd be a really terrible driver. Okay. All right. So what would this R value be? Negative or positive? Negative. And is it -1? No. Negative like 0.9 maybe? Sure. Exactly where that we can't expect you to know. That's what the calculator can do. All right, so let's actually do that right now. So on this data that we just put in, right here, I told you this would have been perfect and we didn't use perfect. We're gonna figure out what the R value is for that. So the first thing I need you to do is find the calculator button. No, catalog, my bad, catalog button. So grab your calculator, go to the catalog button, which is above the 0 key. You know on the number pad, you got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Find the 0. Above the 0, do you see the word catalog? Then you have to hit the second key first, go to catalog, and then arrow down a whole bunch of times until you find the word diagnostic on. Arrow down it seriously at least 25, 30 times until you find diagnostic on. And then hit enter a couple times.
2 times?
Yep. And it'll say done.
It says done.
Exactly. Now I want to see that screen. I'm going to walk around. I want to see that screen that says diagnostic on. Pause. Okay, it took a while, but we got everybody with diagnostics on. All right, now go back to the stat screen and edit and make sure you have these numbers in your screen. Everybody double check. If you have any more numbers than this, it's going to screw it up. Date, last chance to stay where you are. Make sure you don't have any extra numbers. That messed a lot of people up last hour. You got it? These exact numbers and no more numbers? We good? Okay. Then we go to stat and we go to calculate. And then you're going to arrow down a bunch of times to the thing called lin for linear, reg for regression, lin reg, but there's 2 of them. Be careful. You choose lin reg in AX plus B. That's the one you want. Lin reg AX plus B.
It says A plus B.
There's another one. There's another one.
You want the AX plus B one.
There are actually 3.
Yep, we only want this one.
Oh, is it number 4?
Yeah.
All right. Now, once you've found that, hit enter a few times and it'll actually read you something on your screen. They are moving their chairs too early today. So can't leave quite yet here. So if you found this lin reg AX plus B, hit enter a few times until you got the equation showing up there. 30, 42, 51. My screen and yours should read the same. Y equals AX plus B. A equals 10.5. Is that what you guys had, 10.5? Yeah. Good. B equals 9.5, which if you had the other, I'm sure you have that. Ignore the R squared, but the R says 0.9966. Did that mean I had a perfect correlation? No, but almost perfect. Was it positive or negative?
Positive.
So that was almost perfect positive correlation. That means this data was very strong. which means that like you can say, yeah, those two things are correlated. Very strong correlation. You do 2 hours of study, you get a 30. You do 3 hours of study, you get a 42. You get a 4 hours of study, you get a 51. And then the cooler part is this equation. Last thing we're going to do before lunch, write this down, please, on your iPad. Y equals 10.5x plus, what's B? It says it right on the screen. 9.5. And that is the equation for the linear regression. And that's all we're doing until after lunch. Okay, so when you left for lunch, we had just gotten this equation. What does it do? It makes a line that goes through the point 9.5 and has a slope of 10. It's like this. And it goes through all of those points exactly. No, it doesn't. It gets close to them. You know, it kind of goes through the middle of the set of points, but it doesn't touch all of them. It can't. How can a straight line touch all those points? It wouldn't. So you just get as close as you can. And the calculator does all of that work for you, but it gave you the equation for that. All right, now what does it really do? If you tell it an x value, it can tell you what the y value would be. So it can make predictions then. If you said, like, I think the x is going to be like 20, well, then it'll be able to say, well, then I'll put the 20 here, and it'll tell you what y value should be. So it'll predict points now. That's one of the cool things about these equations. All right, now we're going to go to the notes. And I had these notes up before. Right here is a set of notes on Nate's data from car ads. So what he did is he took this info out of the paper, and Nate has a theory that basically if a car has more miles on it, that the car, this is not going to work, that the car is going to be cheaper if it's got more miles on it. All right, so type in exactly what you see here. The first one is 35. The second one is 55. Third one is 6. Just type them in as you see them. I don't want to read them all to you.
Is this all in the first one?
Yeah, I think you can read it. It's right up there on the board, and it's on your notes. And then you go arrow over to the other column and type in all of those. At the end, trust me, double check it real quick, because all you have to do is type one number wrong and your equation will be goofed up. And yours won't be the same as mine or anybody else's. So you gotta double check your numbers at the end. Make sure you didn't miss one or mistype one. In the real world, sometimes there's thousands of data points. Like right now, my car is on the self-driving beta. So it's gathering tons of data like this. I mean, this is nothing. This little chart we just typed in, I got that done in like 3 minutes. My car is dumping so much data out for Tesla to use to be able to make full self-driving better. It collects tons of data. So this little chart, that's nothing. But then you'd have a computer that would do this for you instead of your calculator. But I am now double checking my numbers to make sure, and you should too, that you typed all of them in correctly. In a moment, I'm going to walk around and look at your answers. It'll be easy to tell if you screwed it up. So please get on this right now so I don't have to talk to you one-on-one about it. All right, I got all my numbers in right. I double checked it and they're all good. Now, what do you think I'm going to do next? What button? Stat. What after that?
Calculate.
Calculate. What after that?
The first one.
One bar.
Nope.
Oh.
Not one bar stats.
Line AX plus B.
Lin reg
Or lin reg
AX plus B. AX plus B. There. And then you have to hit enter a few times to get it to actually do it. Now, if you put the diagnostics on like we did before, it should tell you an R value, and then it should tell you an equation, but I'd like you to just go direct to writing the equation. Did you get negative 0.33 x? Why am I putting an x there? Because that's the number before the x, and then there's an x, and then there's plus, and then there's the b number, which is 42 point, I'm going to round it to 42.9. Did you get the same thing that I did? Then you used all the right numbers. In a moment, I'm going to sweep around, and if you got stuck, I'm going to help you. But what is the R number first, though? Michaela, what did you get for the R number?
Negative 0.26.
So was there a correlation? Do you guys remember that perfect would have been -1? Isn't this kind of close to -1?
Yeah.
It's like 86 cents, -86. That's pretty close to -1. So that is correlation. Now, how strong it is, that's kind of an opinion question. Okay, I would have called this strong negative correlation. Now, your opinion on strong versus medium versus weak, that's kind of an opinion. Question? I saw a hand, but now it's gone. The last chance to ask me a question. All right, so I'm going to sweep around, and I want to see that you got the Linreg the same as me. It should basically have these. If it doesn't, then I'll help you if you got goofed up on that. But if nothing else, get the data in there. Pausing. Okay, there's only a couple people that were goofed up, but we've got it now, and that is how you do a regression. Now, the first couple questions of the Schoology quiz, which we're going to start right now, have an opinion on them. So I'm going to help you with what's strong versus what's moderate versus what's weak. That's the only thing that's hard. So would you please open up the Schoology quiz right now? So number 1 has got dots all over the place. Jesse, have you got number 1 pulled up yet on your iPad? Excellent. What are the choices that I have on number 1? And I can check all that apply.
You can't check.
Oh, and this one it's just what?
It's,
one.
it,
Or it's giving
the
the
options are moderate, weak, no correlation, positive, negative, strong.
Oh, and you only get to pick one thing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's easy because
No correlation.
there's no correlation.
No correlation.
All right, that one's easy. Okay, number 2, right away, I didn't like it. I could tell that it was positive or negative. That's easy. But it's really hard to get an opinion on how strong or moderate or weak that is. It really is an opinion question. So I can tell you is it positive or negative? You tell me.
Negative.
It's negative. Good. Everybody check the negative box. And I looked it up. Good call. It's moderate. Now, it's so hard to tell. Like, honestly, I would have known that that wasn't weak. I would have known that. But it's hard to know. It's negative because it's going down. But they called it negative moderate. All right, and read number 3. Daniel, would you please read number 3?
What's the correlation?
And it's kind of... What do you think this one is?
moderate, weak, moderate.
Well, would you agree it's positive?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the only question is moderate versus weak versus whatever. All right, I am going to give you the final. You guys got to decide, is it moderate or is it weak? What's your final best guesses? Moderate or weak?
Weak. I think it's moderate. I'll go with moderate.
Moderate. I
It's
say
a
weak.
judgment call, and the teacher chose weak.
Boom.
I don't like it.
Boom.
That's the way it goes.
Dude, got it.
Now, if they gave us an R number, then at least you could have
Strongly positive.
like a number way to say it. But they didn't give us our data, so we have no R value. All right, number 4. Sophia, would you read me number 4? Is it another graph with dots?
That's another graph.
Okay, show it to me.
It's strong positive.
I agree. That one looks like strong positive. Strong pause.
So this one would be
All right.
no negative.
Now, I will understand on this one if you get one marked wrong because you are not positive whether it's medium or moderate or strong or whatever. You're done a Schoology quiz by now. All right, so find the Schoology quiz, please. You ready? All you got to do is finish this. That's it. And now I only have one last thing to teach you. Like literally tomorrow, you'll have learned the last thing from Algebra 2. Tomorrow. Tomorrow's it. After that, it's review for the test and then the test. Test is on Friday. And then, of course, there'll be some people that want to take retakes or stuff. But that was it. Tomorrow's the last new thing. It's kind of cool. We're getting there. Yes, the final is going to, though, we decided on relatively easy questions. You know how our tests have R2s and R3s?
Yeah.
It's only going to be R2 level questions, meaning you won't have the hard questions. You'll just have the easies, but they are from the whole semester. Not first semester, but the semester you and I have been together, second semester. Well, for some of you, I was with you first semester too. But anyway, for just second semester, it's got a little bit from every test, but just the R2s. So we'll have time to review it. It'll give you a good chance to like remember everything you learned for the last, since January. All right, that's what happens on the final on the last day in this class. Yes, question?
On the quiz, you select both like moderate, weak, or positive, moderate, weak, or strong, and positive or negative?
Yes, you have to pick positive or negative.
Okay, thanks.
And strong, weak, etc. So you get two answers for most of them. On the very first one, there was only one because there was no correlation. So you only picked one thing on problem 1. All right, so that Schoology quiz is it. That's all I got for you for the video for today.